leverage your knowledge to success.
Welcome to Adhitya Talks. Today's guest is someone who has dedicated his life to building people before building professions. Captain BJ Singh, an international master trainer, is the founder and CEO of Absolute Training Solutions, a pioneering organization defining education, training, and soft skills through 100% customized interventions. And with over 110 years of cumulative leadership experience across sectors in his core team, he has trained students, professionals, leaders, and CEOs to become future ready. He also serves as the head and academic director of InfoBeans Foundation, which is a trainer of trainers, and he is also a writer and a poet with also having a strong advocate of value-based education. Today we'll explore leadership, learning values, and what it truly takes to succeed in life beyond degrees and job titles. Captain Singh, welcome to Aditya Talks. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Hello guys. Welcome to another show of Adhitya Talks, episode of Adhitya Talks. Today we have Captain BJ Singh with us. Welcome, sir. How are you doing today?
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot for getting me on board for
Yes.
your pod. Thanks.
It's a pleasure. It's an honor to take you up on this podcast today. We're going to have a very enlightening discussion, and I hope my viewers also enjoy. So, for the benefit of our viewers, can you introduce yourself for just a brief introduction to you?
Okay. One introduction is which is hierarchical introduction in terms of positions and stuff like that. Apart from that, I think what is more important here is to be able to introduce yourselves without any ranks and positions and stuff like that. So I think I'll take that route. Well, I'm a keen learner and I have interests in a lot of things. So I'm a person who's interested in things, interested in life. So as a result, uh, I play 5 musical instruments and I'm a poet. I have a published book on poetry, which is right here, which says, My anthology Izhaar. Then I have written a couple of books on private circulation for organizations like public speaking. I specialize in some segments on presentation skills. And I play golf. I'm a very keen golfer. So this is a little idea about who I am.
Yes, that's really interesting. So you have a lot of uh, you have a huge surface area. You've done a lot of stuff, and that's really interesting. So you work in education and training. What experiences have shaped your belief that education and training needed a fundamental change, and what kind of ideology are you bringing to this game?
See, I discovered that the country has talent. And unfortunately, that talent hasn't been trained enough. There is, I would say, an conceptual errors. Our education system sometimes does not cope up with the need of the industry or the need of the times. It is very official. It takes 5 years to get your syllabus redone and changed, and by then the world has moved ahead. So what is very intriguing about the whole thing is, as a trainer, you try and differentiate between teaching and training. Teaching is something which, by and large, is one-way communication. You come give a lecture and you go back, irrespective of whether people have understood, they haven't. Training uses 4 different phases. The first phase is motivation. It motivates the learner to want to learn. Second phase is information. That's where you give the information that is required. Third phase, which is the most important phase in the entire learning process, is application. That means whatever information has been given to you, you apply it. Unfortunately, we in our country are the weakest in this particular segment. We know
Yes.
the theory, we know what happens when it, and skills can only be built by doing. So if we are talking of building skills in people, it's something like a driving. You can tell somebody, take them to a very nice theater, talk about all about how to drive and what are the rules. But unless you make that person sit behind the wheel and actually do it, this person would never learn how to drive. Same thing, I
Yeah.
think, is what really fascinated me. And the final phase here is evaluation. We are very good at evaluation. We don't do the rest of the three things. So I think that has been how the journey got defined. That yes, people should actually be trained to do things.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Our country falls short on application-based learning. A lot of what we do is not relevant in these days, and in terms of application, we are really falling behind. So, what kind of gap do you think exists in today's education system, and what kind of solution do you think what kind of solution could be implemented to solve those gaps?
Is that academia is not updated. I'll give you an example. I had InfoBeans Foundation and where we train students free of cost for one full year on IT products. I've been heading it for last about 1 year. And before this, we were doing programs which included Java full stack, Mern full stack, SQL. From the current batch, we discovered that the market wanted AI/ML. And for doing AI/ML, you need to have Python. We just took a decision and started. The new batch, which is 15 days old, is learning Python and AI/ML. Now, how very quick that is compared to how the education system works. I think that is where the moment we understand the gap, we try and fill it. Well, you are updated. You are up to the times.
Yeah, uh, I think adapting to what the current needs are is something which happens very slowly in our education system, and that it happens over such a long time that the needs also evolve. So
The
if
needs
you
have changed by the time. By the
yes,
time you come up with a new thing, it has already changed, become passe.
yes, so the system isn't really efficient, and skills which are taught are really redundant by the time you learn them. So, why are soft skills important? You've emphasized on soft skills and values
Oh,
as
yes.
very important, if not more than technical skills. Why are they important?
Okay, I'll quote a survey done by Harvard which says technical skills being the same, a person who is hired because of communication and personality. So if they are looking for IT engineers and they're looking for anybody not less than 80% marks, everybody who applies is 80% and everybody who's there is an IT engineer. And who are they going to really pick up? Well, that's precisely why soft skills are so important. If you know the product, you can't even talk about it, you can't explain it, you do not have that aplomb, you do not have the confidence of talking, then your best of projects that you've done will not impress the interviewer.
Hmm. Yeah, it definitely makes sense. You should have a good front end as well as a good back end. If you even if you have the knowledge, if you cannot present it in front of a third party or someone who is not as knowledgeable in that space, there is no use of that knowledge. You cannot apply it in a
True,
social environment. So,
true,
uh,
true.
so your firm, ATS, focuses on 100% customized interventions. Why is customization critical in training?
Ah, that's something that's very close to my heart. See, if I have to do a generic training to somebody without really knowing what is it that the individual or the organization or a group in the organization actually does. I've just finished a training program with Anand Group of Industries in they have a resort in near Jaisalmer, and their leadership team was there. And before getting into that program, we did a lot of training need assessment and training need analysis, and we found out the indicators that tell us what is it that they need. So unless I understand and customize a product to a specific group, to a specific company, to a specific role, the training will go a waste.
Yes, that makes sense because each and every other company has different needs, and maximizing the utility for each company depends on what they want, what kind of skills do they specifically need, and adhering to that and helping that is something that you do, which differentiates you from the rest of the market. How should institutions and corporations in these times rethink learning, especially for the coming decade where technology is evolving at such a rapid pace?
So the question is, how should they keep pace with it?
Yeah,
See, this is not the first time that there has been a disruption in the market. Markets, on an average, get disrupted every 10 years. You look back at every decade, something or the other disrupts the common, normal functioning of people and industry. When it happens, then people are a little worried, they are confused, they really wonder, is it going to, cause them their jobs or how is life going to go? But all those are initial reactions to any change. So what is more important is to be able to accept change. If we don't accept change, we are already creating a boundary, a wall between us and what is expected out of us in the changing environment. So if we are willing to accept change, then work towards how that change is going to make a difference, whether it's going to help you, whether it is not going to help you. But the first requirement is acceptance of wanting to change.
yes. That makes sense because change in itself is very volatile. We cannot predict what kind of change is going to happen in the market, but obviously we can make ourselves ready for change and accept that change is going to happen. It is a natural process, and when that change happens, we will evolve with it. So that kind of natural progression is good for the company and deepens its foundations as well. So you train people to become trainers. What qualities do you, as a trainer, define a great trainer should have?
Okay. Well, yes, I've been a master trainer, so I train a lot of people to be trainers. Yes.
Yes.
See, one major thing that I look for a trainer is positive attitude. Because if a trainer is low on skill but has the right attitude to learn, I would be able to make the difference in the skill sets. If the trainer thinks he knows everything, nothing can be taught to him, then probably it becomes a problem. Of course, there are basic requirements like the trainer has to be well read, the trainer has to have good English language skills, or maybe if you need a dual language, for example, I do training in Hindi and English both because if the target audience is Hindi speaking, there's no point of my showing off my language skills in English because I can't reach out to them. The aim and purpose of reaching out is lost. So I have to be good at both the languages. I think that language is important, ability to adapt, willingness to learn, and open to improvement. Well, yes. To sum it up, having the right attitude. If attitude is right, everything else will fall in place. In fact, when we look for trainers, the first thing we want is a positive attitude. Rest we'll manage because attitudes are difficult to change. And it is said that people are born with an attitude. So it can
Yeah,
only be modified, can't be changed much. Therefore, pick up somebody with a good positive attitude. That's a great beginning.
yeah, that makes sense because ultimately it's the person that grows, not their skills or whatever they have right now is something which will be subject to change in the future. So their mindset is what matters most, and communication as well is important because how if you cannot reach to the other person, there's no use of having that knowledge in the back end, as we discussed earlier. So
True.
can you tell us how a trainer can create a long lasting impact rather than a momentary motivation in a person?
Okay, that's interesting. Uh, Trainer has to be systematic in understanding the need of the target group and then work with a plan to help people in terms of picking up that skill. Therefore, needs a lot of reinforcement, lot of reminders. That's when we create a program, the first, let's say after the initial icebreaker, we spend about 10 minutes in only recapping what was done in the previous day. Because in the world of today, there's so many distractions that students go through. They don't visit what you've done with them a day prior. So you have to, instead of telling them do it, you have to get them do it. So you go back to the class and you do different methods of recapitulating what was done earlier so that now you move ahead. And the theory of remembering and forgetting, that's very important. The theory of remembering and forgetting says a piece of information which you want to put in your short-term memory has to be read 4 times. What most of us do is we read it once and expect to remember it. No, they are two different functions of two different parts of the brain. One part of the brain, which does logic part, understands but doesn't memorize. So, in order to memorize something, you have to possibly use a different part of the brain. To take it in a layman's language, people who are left handed are right brain oriented, and people who are right handed are left brain. Now, people who are right handed, left brain is logic driven. It has seat of intelligence. So you will understand. Why do you read? You read to understand. That's the first
Yeah,
thing. People go wrong because they want to memorize. The moment they read, they want to memorize. The memory is a function of a different part of the brain, which is the right brain.
yes,
Therefore, for that brain to memorize something, you have to read it 4 times. First reading, a gap of 10 minutes, and second reading. Before sleeping, third reading. After getting up in the morning, four reading. These four sets will make it permanent for a short duration. If you keep repeating these sets, well, learning is put in place.
exactly. So I agree with you. Repetition is one of the most important things when it comes to learning because doing it once just means that you're doing it for the sake of doing it, and doing it again and again reinforces that idea in your mind, and it fills up your memory, and you remember it in a long term period. So yeah, I agree with that. And during sessions, uh, revising what you did before is also important, because you can't assume that people revise on their own, because this is
Yeah.
in this age, people are distracted by many things, and can do not really have a lot of self control. So uh, with in these times, what kind of leadership traits do you think matter the most, at least in the next 10 to 15 years? What kind of leadership skills should people invest in?
Okay. I think the best leader is somebody who does it and shows it, leading by example. If I am training somebody and I have to do something, I have to first demonstrate it. Otherwise, other people will not do it. I was in the army, and while you are being trained, you are trained to dig defenses so that when you dig in a mountainous terrain, you are digging the whole night, not sleeping, and then being ready in the morning. You will know it only if you have done it yourself. You can't expect your soldiers and your teams to do something and you don't have a vague idea about how long will it take and what goes into it. Therefore, I think the best leader is somebody who leads with example. For example, if I have to come on time, instead of telling people come on time, they have to see me. I come 20 to 25 minutes before time every day to office. I don't think I need to tell them
Yeah,
that, guys, you have to reach on time. So I think
yeah,
everything else is to be, by and large, you got to do it, show it, and then people would follow it. They still may not follow, they may not decide to follow, but that's the best trait of a leader, doing, leading with examples.
yeah, I agree. Leading with example shows that you are also in the game and doing. You also have your neck on the line. So that kind of uh, motivates the other person who is beneath you or with you to work with the same fervor that you have, and you don't really have to, tell him. You show him that you are doing something, and I
Plus,
agree
you
with that.
also create, a confidence. If I can do it, you can do
Exactly. So
it.
I agree with that. And your vision also talks about contributing positively to society. How can professionals balance success with social responsibility?
I think we all have been talking about the Maslow's theory, and we've been talking about currently the young people are talking about different humors that are there in the body and dopamine and everything else. I think all of them, by and large, happen when we help others. The biggest happiness, even when you talk of Maslow's theory, is actualization, self actualization. That's nothing but when you've reached a place where you realize that whatever you've gained from society, you need to give it back in whichever form you can. It's not always money, it is skills, it is time, it is services. I think that is the biggest happiness. And that is how communities build. That's how nations build. That's how humanity lives.
I agree. Values and values and contributing to society is something which everybody should do, because these are the drivers of humanity, and we have come here because people have this nature of contributing to each other, and ultimately we are not a individualistic species. We are a social species. We have to work together with people, and that should come into play
True.
within your work life as well as your life as a whole. What kind of role do you think leaders should play in shaping a ethical, value-driven organization?
I think, like I said earlier, leading by example. Second is treat others the way you would want to be treated. Being humane, having humility. I think these three traits are very, very important to be able to connect with people.
Yes. Uh,
If
I,
I don't like somebody treating me in a particular way, then I should not be treating the others that particular. I think this is the sum of our entire interaction.
Yeah, I agree. Understanding and thinking before you speak is also something which is important because you have to introspect about what you're going to say to the other person. Would you like that to be told to you? And then reflect on that and kind of try to change your uh, communication skills to match with something that you would find pleasant, and that is really important. So you let's move on to your poetry and writing part of your personality. Can you tell us how you started in this and how did it influence your life, your leadership, and training style?
Oh, I used to write in English language and I did not have formal training because I did my MA in English literature. So some of the poets I read influenced me and I started writing. And then I happened to be traveling across the country. So whichever thing triggered me, I would write on that. Then I met an organization in Indore called Arz Kiya Hai. It is a society of people where amateurs interact with professionals. And that is where they train you how to write different formats. That is where I was told if you want to reach the masses, English will not take you. You'll have to write in Hindi. And that was one area where I thought I was not comfortable. So I told them, look here, my Hindi is not good. They said, no, no, that's your assessment of your Hindi. Your Hindi is good. So try writing in Hindi. So I started writing in Hindi and it was difficult for a publisher to publish my book because I wrote in five different languages in that book. And they said, which language section do we put it in? There's a Hindi, there's an English, there's a Punjabi, there's an Urdu, and there are some segments which are from Avadhi. That kind of a dialogue. So this has influenced me tremendously. When I go into a session, sometimes I pick up my book and I read something to people. And then, since a poet has a reach in his mind, therefore, I remember I was going on one of the roads here. There was a Bharat crossing by, and we stopped over to give them passage. Then I suddenly realized that the people on the horseback were all women. And the bride was riding a horse, and everybody else who was going in the barat were women. And my curiosity took the better of me. So I asked somebody there, hey, what's this? They said, this girl told her father that I will not have a man coming to my house in a barat, I will go to the man's house. So the moment I saw this, I rushed back home, got inside my room, and I immediately wrote a composition. Modern Dula and Modern Dulan. Now, these are some things that trigger you when you see things happening in society. I think that's how poets are. They are a crazy
Yeah.
lot.
You can get a flash of inspiration from anything, in anything and everything you see in, in your daily life, and you can't predict anything, and I think that adds to
Yeah.
the beauty of life. So
True,
some
true.
things
That's the
have to be
beauty. Yes,
spontaneous.
yes.
So
Yes, that's right. Spontaneity is very important. Yeah.
exactly. So writing. I think is one of the most important skills that we can inculcate in these times, especially because when everything is so fast paced, sitting yourself on a table and writing maybe a page a day is something that helps you introspect. And I myself have inculcated a habit of writing a daily journal, which is really important to keep your head on your shoulders. You have to understand what your direction is. So, writing is very important. And creativity is also one of the most important skills, which I believe
Yes. Yeah.
is something which makes leaders and trainers better in these days. How do you think people can inculcate creativity as in these times?
Okay, very interesting. I've been doing a lot of workshops on creativity. And it's again a question of logic and logic. People who are logical are very poor creators because for them, for example, if you're an engineer, you are a very, very logical person. And creativity doesn't go by logic. I was doing a session with Eicher Motors, and they normally have a process where they get certain ideas patented during the year. And I was called to help them generate more ideas. The first thing I did was I put their left and right brain to function together because the right brain, which is the source of creativity, which is the source of emotions, it is the source for memory, it is the source for visual understanding. It is 80% in size from the right brain. The right brain makes you, more creative, and the left brain makes you logical. So the difference in size between both of them is 80-20. Now, I do not have any concrete evidence that says bigger is better, but life tells us that bigger is better. So if there is a similar gray matter and there is more of it, on its own, it will not do anything. It has to be triggered. So you do activities and actions, and meditation is one of those things that triggers the left and right brain combination.
Yeah,
Once the logic, left and right brain get together, creativity improves. So that is one reason why I meditate every day. And even in my classes, I ask people to meditate for 15-20 minutes.
yeah.
Excellent thing to do.
Meditation brings your mind to a halt. As we were talking about writing, bringing yourself to a halt is important because in these days we consume more than we create, and therefore our attitude is also in line with consumption. So when we start to stop ourselves and introspect and create new thoughts which start from our own brain, we create a habit of doing this and applying it to situations that we see in our everyday life. And meditation has been proven to increase our gray matter by around 1.8 millimeter, which is a very, very big number if you compare it to the rest of the options. And I believe it is a habit that everybody should inculcate. Can you
Oh,
share a
yes.
thought or a line that you believe reflects your philosophy of life?
It's very difficult to actually do that, but one particular line which is oft quoted, which is by Tennyson, which says, "The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep."
That's
So
a
there are a lot of
wonderful.
distractions in life. Lot of distractions in life with the lovely dark and deep. But we can't always be there. So you have to continue to do things that you have to do.
Yep. That's an amazing line and amazing thought. I'll keep that in mind for the future. And let's move on to what kind of advice would you give to students who are anxious about careers and success? What's your message for the youth of these days?
Ah, there is a strange concept that's taking rounds in the new generation, which talks about something called smart work compared to hard work. I think that's a fallacy. There is no replacement for hard work. The current youth is not willing to really slog. Those who slog achieve. Those who are only looking at making life easy, making things easier, well, life doesn't work that way. You have to really burn the midnight oil. Here also, when we train students, we ask them, what time do you sleep? If they say we sleep by 11 o'clock, we tell them you'll fail. You have to work till 2, 2:30 at night every day. That's your regimen. And you look at the Prime Minister of the country, he sleeps for 5 hours. I mean, anybody and everybody who's achieved something in life has really burnt the midnight oil. You have to put in that much extra work. When people ask me about my language, my students tell me, how do you know so many words and how do you speak so well? I tell them, well, I come from a family where my father was the only educated man. My mother was from a village and he did not speak English at home because she wouldn't understand. So I had to work. I have worked so hard. I mucked up the dictionary, pocket dictionary when I was in class 9.
Yeah.
Ah, that doesn't happen on its own. Hard work, man, hard work.
Yeah.
No shortcut to this.
And I believe smart work is a result and a consequence of hard work. When you work hard in one direction, you refine your acts and you learn your shortcomings and you advance. And over time, that leads to something which, with experience, you're better than the person you were yesterday. So, yeah, I agree with that. And hard work is something that we should definitely not condone in these times. How do you define success, sir? And what kind of ideals do you think youth should live by and look forward to in terms of success? Because I like your mindset of not introducing yourself with your titles and your designations rather than with your qualities, which is something really interesting I noticed today.
Oh, thank you. Because designations go away, titles go away. The traits of an individual stay with that person. The skills of that individual stay with that person. The knowledge stays. So I think we all should focus in that area rather than am I manager or director or executive or chief executive. All those are only to tell the world a little hierarchy about what you're doing. That's all. Well, the question that you asked me basically boils down to uh, what is it that these people should be doing today? Is that the question?
No, my question is, what's your definition of success in life?
Definition of success. Oh, I'm so sorry, I missed out the link. See, success to every individual would vary. Therefore, one has to understand one's own understanding of success. When I was growing up, success to me at that point in time meant donning the uniform because my father was in uniform, my two elder brothers were in uniform. So to me, success was getting a star here on my shoulders. That was success to me. It may not have been true for somebody else. So we all have to define our own successes.
Yes, I agree. And so you were successful in the end. You donned that uniform, and now you've done much more beyond that as well. So let's move on to a rapid fire round. I'll ask you questions in a successive manner very quickly, and you have to answer.
Sure,
You have to answer in one
sure,
or two
sure.
words. So let's start.
Okay, I'll do that.
All right.
Yeah,
So knowledge or wisdom,
wisdom,
skills or values,
skills,
leaders or a leader or mentor,
mentor,
Training or self-learning?
Both.
One skill everyone must learn.
To be humane,
One value the world needs more of.
kindness,
Book or experience.
experience,
Teaching or learning.
learning,
One word that defines leadership.
being true,
One word that defines success.
happiness.
All right, that concludes the round. Thank you, sir, for participating. And just so now we are wrapping up this interview. I just have a couple of questions left, and with this, I would like to ask, what kind of can you advise to a few people from your connections that you believe are relevant to the show, that you believe I should get on the show for my viewers as well as myself?
Yeah, sure. I'll definitely interact with a lot of people, and some of them I'm pretty impressed with. One person that you should get in touch with is Neeraj Desai. He heads GSB, College of Graduate School of Business, and another college called Soft Vision. He's a good friend, and he is a very creative.
Yes. So thank you for that recommendation. And lastly, before we end this interview, I would like to ask what what kind of message uh, what kind of this is the second last question. Sorry. What keeps you motivated after decades of working across many different spaces and career different industries? What keeps you motivated to go on?
Well, that's very interesting. In fact, I've never asked myself that question because I very strongly feel that nothing can motivate you externally because true motivation comes from within you. So if you are really inspired by others, that's okay, but motivation would come from within. And what really keeps me going is my desire to keep adding value to the people I interact with. I've been working with school students, college students, executives at entry levels, mid levels, being a mentor to CEOs of companies. If one can add value at each.
Yes. So thank you for that. And lastly, before we end this episode, what kind of message and what kind of message would you leave for would you like to leave for Aditya Talks' audience? And how, what any advice you have for Aditya Talks as a channel or me, and how can we improve?
I think you're doing a great job. You are interacting with a cross section of people and putting in different values and experiences of people. I think you're already doing a great job. The only thing that I can really say is as long as we normally talk about aim and goals in life, I think the biggest aim and goal in life should be to be happy and spread happiness.
Yes, I agree.
So
Uh,
if you're doing that, wow, you're doing a great job, Aditya.
Yeah. I can always be happier. So I'm happy and I'm content right now as I am. And aside from that, I have a lot of goals. So I believe when I achieve them, I'll surpass and reach a new level of happiness. So yeah.
Yes.
Anyways, thank you for coming on the show. It was an amazing time talking to you, and I hope my viewers also enjoyed this episode. If you have any questions or anything you want, just feel free to post your opinions in the comments below. And yes, thank you, sir. Thank you for coming.